Ottawa taxpayers have been wondering recently what the return on investment has been since hiring a nightlife commissioner. It has now been more than 6 months since Mathieu Grondin was given the job, and while a local business publication is reporting that last night's city committee meeting heard from tourism and music stakeholders who paint a picture of optimism around the work being done so far behind the scenes, we're going direct to the source this morning and putting him in the spotlight. Mathieu Grondin, welcome back to CTV Morning Live.
Thanks for having me. Grateful to be here.
Of course, as you know, I don't have to tell you, your name has been in the mouths of many people around the city, and we heard from stakeholders. You're working with Ottawa tourism as well as the music stakeholders in the city, but even realtors are blogging about your position. And so let's take a look at this clip.
But why does Ottawa need a nightmare? Despite its rich culture, Ottawa has struggled with less than exciting nightlife reputation. The nightmare aims to change this by boosting the local economy, and in return, this will enhance the nightlife, attract tourists, create jobs, and increase revenue for local businesses. So the question now becomes, can Ottawa's new nightmare turn the city that fun forgot into a nightlife hotspot? Let me know what you think.
So he says the question now becomes, can you get the job done and turn Ottawa into a nightlife hotspot? Again, how are you feeling about the pressure that's on you after just 6 months into the gig?
There's been a lot of media and public attention and scrutiny around this position, and I think this translates the level of excitement of Ottawa residents that want to develop nightlife and deserve a great nightlife. Obviously, nightlife management positions are new in Canada. Ottawa's the first city to create one, but we're just playing catch up here because there's over 40 cities around the world, like smaller cities like Pittsburgh, Boston, Raleigh, North Carolina have nightlife management positions. San Francisco has had one since 2013. So, I understand that people want some quick wins, but this is going to be a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can't turn the city around within 6 months. So,
well, Ottawa residents are clearly passionate about the city, and I think to your point, it speaks to the need. But remind us about how you view your role, because I think when we're talking about terms like nightmare, people really thought it was going to be public facing, and you've been quoted as saying that's more bureaucratic. It's an office gig.
I don't think there's any other position inside the city administration for a city employee that's as much public facing that I am. But if people think, I've heard people think that I was going to organize press conferences every second week and cut red ribbons. I leave that to the politicians. I'm a city employee. My job is far less sexy than that. It's to look at bylaws and zoning and make sure that the framework conditions are right to allow nightlife to grow and expand in Ottawa. So we're going to see the outcomes of this over the next few years, But right now we're doing foundational work. We're making sure that the soil is fertile so that when we plant the seeds, the trees can grow in the right direction.
Yeah, some stakeholders, especially maybe around us here in the Byron market, say, how can we expect people to leave their homes to spend money when people no longer want to leave their homes to earn money with the work from home model or hybrid model? That being said, are you dependent on Ottawa residents to help turn things around, or is it more about targeting visitors and how we appear to municipalities around us like Toronto and Montreal, or internationally, that this is the place to be?
I think both. I think it's a tough time right now. There's a perfect storm around nightlife. We have inflation. We have post-pandemic conditions. We have a homelessness crisis. These are all deterrents for people to participate in nightlife, and obviously these are big structural influences around the sector that I myself cannot control. But I think there's room for growth and there's room for a rebrand of the city. And yes, positioning Ottawa as a destination where you can come and enjoy nightlife if you're from Toronto and Montreal, that's part of the goals. Is that going to happen overnight within 6 months? No, obviously not. It takes time to make these changes to the bylaws and the zoning so that, it becomes sexier for entrepreneurs to open these new businesses and start these new projects. And we're going to see that over the next few months and years.
Yeah. You talked about some of the issues at hand. We just showed some footage of Allure. They host moonlight sessions. It gives you more of a European EDM, maybe even Montreal vibe. But then we have news headlines that kind of scare people off, right? Lower Town just saw a homicide last night. it was a fatal stabbing, and when people think about the downtown core, sometimes these are the images that they think about, all the police tape around. How much do you feel your role includes working with police and definitely trying to ensure that nightlife is still a safe experience?
Well, right now we have a homelessness crisis, we have a public health crisis, and we have 3 levels of governments and multi-agencies trying to fix this situation and this crisis. It's a lot to ask for one guy to help that. But of course, I am speaking with all these different stakeholders and trying to address this problem. We will be rolling out a safety plan later this year for nightlife workers and participants, because we want to make sure that people who participate in nightlife feel safe on their way to the venue, inside the venue, and on their way back. Right. But this is going to be this should be rolled out somewhere for this fall for back to school season. So.
Oh, wonderful! That's nice to hear. What else is next? Because I know the plan is available online. It kind of outlines some milestones or maybe objectives leading into 2026 even. But in the immediate future, that's one that you mentioned. What else can we expect?
Another problem is people feel the need that we need to amplify communication around nightlife activities. People always say, "Oh, I didn't know this happened. It was last weekend." So we're going to try and amplify communication around this. So we're going to create a website for the nightlife office where you will be able to find some kind of a listing of listings and a map of different venues throughout the city. So. If you like hip hop, this is where to go. Follow these social media influencers, these pages. You'll know where. If you like rock, etc., fancy cocktails, etc. So we hope to be able to deliver this before summer, just right before summer. And also, we're organizing as part of Capital Music Week next month a 2-day forum called Canada After Dark. We're going to bring in industry leaders, city officials, and subject matter experts from all over Canada to Ottawa to share best practices and learn from each other. So this is going to be a great moment for Ottawa to still, show that we're leading the charge and, on the nightlife governance movement that is, that's been a thing throughout the world, but is new here in Canada.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mathieu. Thank you for the work that you're doing to help make our city be known as an exciting place.
Grateful for the invitation. Thank you, Stefan.